Welcome to Fix It Home Improvement, covering projects that every homeowner should know and great products for home and garden.
Hi, I'm JC, and this is where we share weekly home improvement tips. I'm here with my co-host, Cindy.
Hello, JC.
Hi, Cindy. This week we're going to be talking about gazebos and pergolas, and we'd like to thank Matt Smitch for liking and sharing the podcast, and we appreciate all the shares and likes on social media. And if you haven't shared or liked it on social media, we'd appreciate if you did. Soon, Book 14 will be on Amazon, and we'll let you know when we're having our 5-day promotion where you can download a copy for free. Historians studying writings, drawings, and the remains of gardens from ancient Egypt think gazebos date back to at least 2600 BC. They believe the first gazebos were probably used for religious ceremonies. Gazebos were popular in ancient Greece and Rome with wealthy homeowners, and Pliny the Elder, the Roman historian, he recommended...
Our listeners don't know who that
is. Pliny recommended growing grapes for wine on a pergola. Gazebos became more popular in the U.S. in the 1930s as a place to relax in your backyard. Then in the 1950s, patios and decks in the backyard became the place for relaxation.
Okay.
A pergola is generally a structure with 4 posts and an open roof. Some pergolas just have a series of spaced rafters, and some have rafters and then purlins, or a trellis assembly running perpendicular to the rafters, and that's going to provide some shade or a place to grow vines or climbing plants.
Have you ever heard of a pergola?
Before this?
Yes.
Yes.
I mean, the term. I didn't hear about it until my cousin's mother-in-law. She said she wanted one. I'm like, right. What are you talking about?
And why?
And she's like, well, I like the look of it, and
right.
I want it on her patio. And I'm like, but still, what is it? And then I looked it up. I'm like, well, that's weird.
Yeah, it's interesting because it is so unique. Pergola. It's almost artistic in its appearance.
Yeah.
Because it's so open. It's such an open frame structure. Where a gazebo is generally a similar structure, but it has a solid roof.
Which makes sense to me. Because if you're going to build something.
Yeah. Or
sit under something, I want something with a roof.
Right. For rain, snow,
right.
sun.
Yeah.
So these can be permanent, freestanding, attached to your home, or in the case of some gazebos, portable.
Really?
I looked at the home centers for pergolas, and the 2 most popular shapes are square and rectangular.
What other shapes could there be?
Well, there are a couple round or triangular pergolas.
Huh.
The most popular sizes are 12 by 12, 10 by 10, 8 by 8, 16 by 12, and 16 by 16. And they ranged in height from 8 feet to 10 feet. They come in steel, aluminum, plastic, vinyl, and wood. And the pergolas I looked at in wood are made of cedar, spruce, redwood, or Douglas fir. And the wood pergolas all had 6 by 6 posts. Most are freestanding, but there are pergolas with 2 posts, and then you attach this to your house with mounting brackets.
Weird.
Some pergolas come with mounting brackets and all the hardware for the posts so you can secure it to decking or a patio. Some have optional bolt-down bracket kits. So check that when you're shopping and comparing the features. If you purchase a pergola from a home center, it's going to come with all the parts pre-cut, but you can also purchase a pergola kit, and this just has the corner brackets and the base brackets. You would have to buy all the lumber needed for the posts, the headers, the rafters, and cut them all to size.
Huh.
Gazebos come rectangular, square, octagonal, hexagonal, and round. And the frame material is usually steel, aluminum, metal, or wood. And the most popular sizes are 10 by 10, 12 by 10, 12 by 12, and 11 by 11. They're going to range in height from 8 feet to 10 feet, but some roof heights are going to be taller if they have a double roof or a decorative cupola on top.
What's a double roof? And what is that word you're saying?
Cupola?
Yeah.
Cupola. This is a small round or square structure with a roof on top of it, and this sits on top of the main roof. it's usually going to have slotted sides to allow airflow. The double roof gazebos have the main roof with a hole on top and a second smaller roof set above the main roof, and that's for airflow. And these are both great if you have a fire pit or a grill in your gazebo.
Okay.
Gazebo roofs come either as a hard top, usually made of shingles, metal, or plastic, or a soft top using fabric. I saw polyester, steel, polycarbonate, shingles, aluminum, and canvas roofs. With the gazebos I looked at that had a shingled roof in the description, you had to supply your own shingles. So check that when you're comparing models.
Yeah, that makes a big difference in the price.
Right. With a shingled roof, you can match the shingles to your home so it looks complementary. When I was making my notes, I had to look up how to spell complementary. And complementary, complementary, means matching, but complementary, complimentary, means flattery.
Well, isn't that exciting?
For most gazebos that are rectangular or square, a hip roof is the most popular style.
What?
Hip, H-I-P.
Okay, I got it. But are you saying like that's an actual thing? Or are you saying it's like hip, man? Far out.
So hip is...
I'm asking.
Right. Well, so this is a style where the roof slopes down on all four sides. This design is very strong, good for areas with high winds or in cold climates if you have snow. So it's very hip for that climate. A gable style roof looks like an upside down V. If you like this style, you want to make sure that you're orienting your gazebo so it blocks the sun. And some modern looking gazebos have just an angled flat roof, so you need to position that for the best shade and make sure you secure this style well if you're in a windy area. If you're in a cold climate and get snow, compare the snow load ratings for the roofs. Gazebos are either permanent, portable, or wall mount. Some gazebos have trellises on the sides for climbing plants. Some have slotted privacy walls or mosquito screening with doors. A couple I looked at had power strips and USB chargers that you can run electric to. Grill gazebos cover and protect a grill. Some of these will have shelving or storage areas. Pop-up gazebos are portable, they're easy to store, and these are great for parties, camping. You can put this over a hot tub, and they just kind of unfold.
It's like a tent?
Yeah, kind of like that, yeah.
So like when we used to go camping as a kid, we'd obviously have a tent, but then we'd have a screen house. That's where we ate dinner and stuff.
Right, so this would be similar to this, and you would stake it. You'd have ropes and stakes to hold it in place like a tent.
Got it.
When you're comparing the materials for a pergola or a gazebo, think about how it's going to complement your home structure and the style, and also the maintenance. For wood structures, cedar and redwood are very durable and they're good for dry climates, where pressure-treated wood is good for humid climates or areas with a lot of rain. And think about resealing it, staining it, or painting it. You're going to have to redo this every few years depending on the product you use. And if you are staining or sealing your wood, keep the label or make good notes on the product for the maintenance schedule. Also, when you need to reapply this, you want to use a similar or the same product.
Because you always think you're going to remember what the product is, and then you get there and all the labels look the same.
Yeah, take good notes. Steel and metal framing is very strong. Compare the coatings and the warranties. Galvanized steel or zinc coated is very rust resistant. Zinc aluminum paint and powder coat paints are long lasting. Aluminum is lightweight, rust and corrosion resistant. Pressure treated wood covered with vinyl is easy to keep clean and it's durable. Fiberglass isn't going to rust or corrode and it's easy to maintain. And when you're comparing models that you like, look at the maintenance recommendations and the warranties. For freestanding or permanent gazebos and pergolas, you want a secure level area to set them up on, and you should anchor the posts just in case of high winds. And that's one thing you should be looking at is the maximum wind resistance in the specifications if you're shopping online, or ask the retailer if you're in a store. One gazebo I looked at had a hip-style dual roof. It had a metal frame and screened sides, and it weighed 500 pounds.
Wow.
But it only had a 32-mile-an-hour wind resistance.
Wow.
So
we get that sometimes over here with thunderstorms.
Right. So a heavy-duty gazebo, it's usually rated at 50 miles an hour or higher.
Right, and I hope so.
A cedar gazebo that I looked at, also 500 pounds, with an aluminum roof and heavy-duty corner gussets, had a 65-mile-an-hour maximum wind resistance. So if you're in an area with heavy winds, I would compare the maximum wind resistance.
Well, I think you should do that anyway. It can get windy.
Right.
You're spending the money for a gazebo. You don't want it to blow away.
Right. Check the wind resistance. To anchor your pergola or gazebo, many of the kits come with brackets on the posts with holes for bolts. If you're setting it up on a paver patio, there are anchoring kits with stakes that you can drive between the pavers if you have room. Then you would attach straps to secure your structure. A couple manufacturers recommend a patio with a solid base of crushed stone and then pavers or bricks that are 2-inch by 12-inch by 24 or 2-inch by 24 by 24-inch so it carries the weight.
Okay.
If you're setting up your pergola or gazebo on a wood deck, make sure it's going to support the weight and get brackets so you can bolt it to your deck. If you plan on putting in a concrete slab or a paver patio, you can put in concrete footings first, and that way you're going to have a solid base for your structure.
Right.
For concrete footings, get the specific requirements from your town for the diameter and depth of the footing. They're going to want the footing to extend down past the frost line to keep it from moving because of the freeze-thaw cycle, and that's for cold climates.
What's the frost line?
The frost line is how deep the soil can freeze in your climate. They're also going to suggest the height above ground for the footing and the type of hardware they recommend for whatever your structure is. There are cardboard tubes made for footings, so it's easy to do it yourself.
Right.
There's one called Quick Tube. It's Q-U-I-K, capital T-U-B-E, and that's from Quikrete, and that's Q-U-I-K-R-E-T-E. You're going to dig a hole usually about 6 inches deeper than you want so you can put 6 inches of gravel below your tube. You're going to cut this cardboard tube to the size you need, and then you're going to pour your concrete into this. Quikrete recommends a 5,000 psi concrete for better strength. Once you pour your concrete mix, you're going to insert your hardware, and then you're usually going to wait about 3 days before you build your structure. Check with your town to see if you need a permit and what the zoning restrictions are for gazebos and pergolas. The permit and building codes for your town help make sure anything you construct is safe. The zoning laws regulate the size, location, and style of your project to keep a uniform look to the neighborhood and help protect your property values.
Okay.
Some towns don't require a permit for a gazebo or pergola if it's smaller than 10 foot by 10 foot. Chicago allows an open gazebo or a pergola that's less than 150 square feet and any temporary structures not over 400 square feet to be set up without a permit. Check with your town, though. You may want to adjust the size that you're purchasing if you plan on a small structure so you can avoid fees and inspections.
Okay.
Pergolas not using footings and without a roof usually don't require a building permit.
Because what is it?
Right, yeah, just a bunch of pieces of wood. But check with your town, because you don't want fines, and you don't want to be fined and have to remove the structure.
Yeah, that sucks.
If you're talking to an inspector about a pergola that you're putting up, make sure that you don't refer to the slats on top as the roof, because any structure with a true roof is going to have stricter codes. Also,
so what are you supposed to say?
It's a pergola without a roof. If you live in an area with a homeowners association, you're probably going to need approval for any type of building you're doing on your property. They're usually very strict on any improvements or structures, so check with them before you start building or purchasing anything. If you're putting up a gazebo in one county by us, you need to fill out an application, pay a fee. They need construction plans and a map drawn to scale with the gazebo drawn to scale in the exact position it's going to be located. For gazebos located on any part of a drainage or utility easement, a notarized affidavit is required to show the utility company is aware of where the gazebo is going to be located, and if the county needs to access the easement area, the owner agrees to remove the structure at their expense within 5 days.
Pick a different spot.
Really. The property owners are responsible for any damage to any utilities in the easement area during construction, and if the owners don't remove the structure within 5 days, the county will remove it and charge the owners for the cost.
Ouch.
I called the town that I live in, and they said if you're putting...
Really like, ugh, you again?
Yeah, really. They said if you're putting up a gazebo or a pergola, you need to fill out a permit application, pay a $275 fee.
Wow.
They need a...
I was thinking like $5.
Yeah, or I can see $20.
Right.
They need a recent copy of the legal plat of survey. They need a scale drawing of the gazebo location and size, or the pergola location and size, a list of the materials, the size, and the type of materials. If you plan on adding electric to your structure, you have to get an additional permit, which is $75.
Wow.
If you plan on putting in foundation piers or footings, you have to get another permit, which is another $75. And then
you need to move. Or don't build anything.
And then they need a signed copy of the gazebo rules, regulations, and the code of compliance.
Wow.
Gazebos and pergolas need to be at least 5 feet from your side and rear lot lines, and they're not allowed over any easements. The maximum height is 13 feet, and you need a minimum number of post holes to support 70 pounds per square foot. A post hole inspection is required, and the post holes need to be a minimum of 42 inches below grade. If you have 3 or more risers, a handrail is required, and a pre-pour inspection is required for a foundation or footings.
All right.
So check with your town before you build a gazebo or a pergola, because they could not only fine you, they could actually make you take it down and re-pour like the footings.
Wow.
To make sure it's done properly.
That'd be a drag.
Yeah, how terrible.
So my uncle has a nice deck in his backyard. It's huge. Like 9 years ago, he built a gazebo on top of it.
Right.
So he got it from Menards, and it was a Suncast one. I actually texted him this week. That's how all this is fresh. So he said it cost like $3,000. Took him and 2 of his friends 6 hours to build it.
Yeah, with these structures, you definitely need a friend.
Or a couple friends at least.
Yeah, and a couple ladders.
Yes. So it's screened in. They have outdoor furniture in there, so like a couch and a chair. There's a table. I mean, they have a TV put out there.
Yeah, it's very cool.
So he says they have dinners out there. Sometimes at night they have a fire pit. So it's really nice. And then my cousin, when he moved into his new house, he put in a new patio. And so when he put in the patio, they poured the footers for his pergola.
Right.
So he had to pull a permit for both of those. My uncle, by the way, didn't pull a permit. He's just like, didn't even think about it.
Yeah, and you hope a neighbor doesn't tell somebody. Yeah. Or you get caught while you're building it.
Yeah. So he built it himself out of cedar, which when I texted him this week, he said that he would prefer, if he had to do it again, he wouldn't do cedar because of the maintenance.
Right.
But he built it 10 feet tall to clear the windows at the back of his house.
Smart.
He said he wished he did it 8 feet instead of 10 feet because it doesn't block as much sun as he thought it would. So he's actually going to install shades on the side now. Which
is a nice feature. And that's something we didn't talk about. You can get retractable shades. You can get shades for the top and the sides.
Right. So you should look online for that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's cool.
But he did a really nice job when he built it. But I still don't understand it. It doesn't have a roof.
You should tell your cousin to look at some pictures online where people use vines and climbing plants to create shade on their pergolas. A few of the pictures I saw, they allowed these plants to completely grow over the top of it, completely covering the top. So it creates like a roof, and you get a lot of shading just from plants.
Well, he has 2 young sons, and they love to climb things.
Right.
That would be scary.
Some top-rated pergolas come from Yardistry, Yardistry, Backyard Discovery, Apex Garden, that's Apex, Hampton Bay, Hampton, capital Bay, and Vita, Vita. Some top-rated gazebos, Sunjoy, Sunjoy, Acacia, Acacia, Yardistry, Backyard Discovery, and Hampton Bay.
And Suncast. Says my uncle. Do you have anything else to add?
If you're digging for concrete footings or doing any digging, call 811 or go to call811.com. That's CALL, the numbers, 811.com. And they'll come out and mark all the underground utilities.
Mm-hmm.
Plan before you shop to consider your location, the size, and any features like mosquito netting, electric access, or shades.
Well, you should call your village first.
Yes, yeah.
Before you do anything.
Right, find out if you need a permit.
And you should practice your drawings to scale.
Right, yes, get graph paper. Read the manuals online between models you like. One manual I read said this gazebo is not designed for high winds or snow. Another manual read, do not light any fires inside or near the product. Stay calm if a fire breaks out. Search for the nearest exit, and do not return to the gazebo before firemen allow you to do so.
Let's wrap this up.
You can subscribe to the podcast on your favorite podcast app.
If you enjoyed it, please leave us a review.
You can check out our home improvement videos on our YouTube channel, Fix It Home Improvement.
And you can subscribe to that as well.
You can download our ebooks, Home Improvement Solutions, What Every Homeowner Should Know, books 1 through 13, and soon book 14 on Amazon.
If you enjoyed it, please leave us a 5-star rating and review.
You can email us at fixitpodcast@gmail.com. You can follow Cindy on Twitter @FixitCohost. And you can follow us on Instagram, Fixit Home Improvement.
Thank you for listening.
Talk to you next week.